Hello, this is Dominic for Kit Guru, and this is a little thingy called the Acer Revo 1 RL85. At least it's one of a number of RL85s, because it's quite confusing how Acer have differentiated between the two different models. This particular one is the DT.SYYEK.013, and I've looked online on their website, there's over 10 of these different ones. But the main differences are that you can get Celerons, i3 or i5 models. Anyway, we have an i5 model, and if I just quickly go through the key specs of that one, we can get on to talking about this mini PC itself. This is a pen, I'm going to need this in a minute. So this has a i5 5200U processor, which is obviously Broadwell U. That's clocked at 2.2 GHz and it turbos to 2.7. That chip has Intel integrated HD 5500 graphics. The Revo 1 also has 8 GB of DDR3L 1600 MHz RAM. And finally, we come to perhaps the centerpiece of the Revo 1, for reasons I'll explain. There's a 60 GB boot SSD, which is inbuilt, and then there's also two 2 TB hard drives, which by default are configured in RAID 1. Obviously the mirroring RAID. So, onto the main features of the Revo 1. Obviously it's a mini PC. Unlike a few mini PCs we've seen here at Kit Guru over the past few months, it's not a bare bones. It comes fully configured, it's got storage, it's got its RAM, it's got the processor obviously. But there is one main area where you can tinker around inside the Revo 1, and this is where my pen comes in handy. Because on the back here, and hopefully you can see it on my other camera, I just press down on this button here, and off pops the top. Put that to the side, so I'll put that to that side, and there you can see it's got this sort of upright fashion, and if you look closely there are these two clips here. Each one houses one hard drive there, one hard drive there. So all you do to remove one hard drive, just pull the clip and it will just pop right out, and then leave that there. There you have a little hard drive in its little caddy. It'll slot into the SATA ports there, and that's all fine and dandy. Now, if I can remember how to just pop out the drive. That's right, there we go. The drive then just pops out of the caddy, just push one side and it will release because it's held on by these little clippy things here. They just slot into what would be the screw holes of the drive, and there you go, you can put it back in. So pop it out, take it out, and then obviously the whole point of that is you can configure your own storage options for however you want them. If you wanted, you could buy an extra 2 SSDs and then just have incredibly fast storage. For me though, the two 2 TB hard drives, they're fine, configured in RAID 1. There we go. As I was saying, so the two 2 TB hard drives configured in RAID, so you have your, in case one drive should fail, you have your storage backed up. For me that's fine, but obviously the key thing with the Revo 1 is users have the option to chop and change how they want their storage. Now, we'll go on to the ports at the back here, and as you can see, we've got two USB 2s at the top. There's your gigabit Ethernet, two USB 3s, HDMI, DisplayPort, and obviously that means you can connect up to a 4K display. And then there's the power there, a Kensington lock. Sorry, that's not power, that's the headphone jack. Power's here. That's the little button you press to remove the casing, and that is the power button itself. So there's quite an array of options there, which is always nice to have. Obviously 4K output is good, you could easily plug this into your 4K TV. And the general design is very nice and unobtrusive. It's got this sort of futuristic spaceship-like design. It would be hard to deny that there are similarities to the Mac Pro, although obviously that was cylindrical, but there are definitely similarities there. But if you just pop this under your TV as is intended, it would be very out of the way, cables all coming out the back, so you've just got this nice clean front there. Nothing on it other than the Acer logo at the bottom. It's very sleek and simple. Right then, so onto the performance of the Revo 1 then. It's got the latest, well I say latest, obviously we're expecting mobile Skylake in September, so over just the next few weeks. But it's, at the moment we're on the latest i5 5200U, which is Broadwell U, ultra low power, 15 watt TDP. I've seen it before, it's a good mobile CPU. And it actually performs very well in the Revo 1, particularly when it's got a 60GB boot SSD, so everything's nice and responsive. And just to give you an indicator of the performance of the Revo 1, of all the laptops and ultrabooks I've tested so far here at KitGuru, this has given me the fastest video encoding time yet. Strong performance from the i5 5200U. So that means it very easily could double as a simple desktop. If you didn't want it for media duties, which is the intended purpose, because the Revo 1 comes with it's supplied with its own remote control, and you can even download an Acer remote control app for your smartphone. But the Revo 1 could very easily just sit on your desk and be a discrete mini PC desktop. It would be absolutely fine for general and office tasks. Obviously, it's not going to do any of the latest games. It's the integrated Intel graphics, which are not for gaming, but for streaming and any other of those media duties. It's absolutely perfect. As I say, the boot SSD means everything is nice and snappy, and then of course you've got the added flexibility of adjusting your hard drives. Personally, I'd be inclined to just leave that be, but if you wanted, whip out one hard drive, put another SSD in there so you've got extra fast storage. The 60GB of inbuilt storage is not going to be doing much more than Windows and maybe 1 or 2 films at the very most. And then there's even the cheaper Celeron models of the Revo 1, which I think start at around £200. I'd have to check that. But they could even work for digital signage for something in a shop window, for instance. But this particular Revo 1, it's got very fast performance, nice and snappy thanks to the SSD and of course the i5 5200U. It's a good mobile processor, and it makes a good desktop PC or media PC. So that brings us on to perhaps the most important thing with this particular Revo 1, its price. And it is £649.99, which I think it's just quite a lot for a mobile powered mini PC. For me, that's the sort of territory where you could be building your own mini ITX, you could get one of those new cube-like cases, stick it under your desktop, and you could probably even get discrete graphics cards, something like a GTX 750, 750 Ti sort of thing, and that could even handle some light gaming. But as is, this small thing, obviously it's going to be smaller than any mini ITX build, but it is quite expensive, and for me that could be a problem. There are other models of the Revo 1 which are more attractive. For instance, there is the DT.SYYEK.016. This is the 013. The 016 is priced at just a penny under £480, which is still a fair amount, but it is a lot more attractively priced than this particular Revo 1. And the 016 comes with, it hasn't got the inbuilt SSD, and it ships with 2 times 1 terabyte storage. So instead of this has got 2 times 2, 016 has 2 times 1, so you've got less storage. Perhaps the main feature of the Revo 1, swap it out, you can put in what you want. And that costs a good, how much is that less? £170 less than this one, which to me sounds like a fairly good deal. So this is the Acer Revo 1 RL85. It's a very attractive, very modern design, mini PC. It could easily sit on your desk and be a desktop PC, but its intended purpose is to be a media PC. Stick it under your TV. It would be very unobtrusive, although it would be nicer if there was a black version. It's very good, it's just the price holds it back. So if you are in the market for a mini PC, I would recommend looking at the Revo 1 line, because there are some other options you might want to look at. There's i3 options, Celerons, but more grunt, you want to stick with the i3 or i5s. So this is Dominic for KitGuru, and this is the Acer Revo 1 RL85.